Nimbe Waden Jidin Sum Doda, Lambe Chödrag, Singe Dada, Tamje Jemba Gunjon Zanyebe, Chavlo Tsung, Tsugun Orbe, Dungara Jato, Tinda Me Garwa, Drove Zola Jive, Chaza Lo, Javian Shana Durje Jinrezi, Sai Nimbo Deva Nambarasa. Chamnya Sayin Bodhiba Nambrasere, Namgain Bo Pacho Gundo Zon Yeve Session Jet Lango Sha Zo Serap Gundo Sija Tanyele, Tangasam, Shagayon Zon Shin, Shangjibian Berlam King Karmapa, Mishe Debe Jive Zuge Du Lasso Chin number so, choose sinking. Mang chewade, that Nangba Sanjeva Yembetsi Chene, Toma Kunchosum like Dabson Roatang, Semjeve, Semjebang, Hundo Tonde, Tambecho Senronang.
Khenpo Rinpoche begins by wishing all of you welcome. He presumes that the majority of you are of the Buddhist faith. Therefore, he would like to start out by telling you that as a Buddhist, one begins any kind of practice of the path, whether it's about attending a teaching session like here, or doing or practicing meditation or anything else. One always starts out by taking refuge in the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, followed by generating the so-called Bodhi mind, which is the mindset which focuses on attaining Buddha, the enlightened state, for the sake of becoming able to truly benefit all sentient beings.
Sanje Chodong Soji Chonam La, Chongjo Bardo Dane Chabsoje, Dage Jinso Jembe Sonam Je, Dola Venture, Sanje Rubrasho, Sanje Chodong Soji Chonam La, Chongjo Bardo Dane Chabsoje, Dage Jinso Jembe Sonam Je, Dola Venture, Sanje Rubrasho, Sanje Chodong Soji Chonam La, Changjo Bardo Dane Chabsoje, Dage Jinso Jembe Sonam Je, Dola Venture, Sanje Drabara Show Takasan Dunta Namekabla Shushavana Shinre Taladum de Gitsen La Guji Nugu Jishi Duzi Charjun Song Yon Tu Gujete Yul Tongbanik Yul She Tongbani Ngoni Kutang Yulchin Yeshi Chuku Tenilet Tene Sharve Tagped Durjala Longkutang Tagla Mata Durjala Turku Somarin Reduna.
In the previous session, there were some explanations regarding the name of this meditation practice, the Guru Yoga on the 16th Karmapa. The name of the practice or the meditation in question speaks of a continuing rainfall of Amrita, which makes for the developing of the seedlings of the four so-called kayas, And if you remember, during the previous session, it was explained that the Sanskrit word kaya is a reference to the various perspectives of Buddha the enlightened state. What that state embodies, as it were. It was also explained in brief that the very quintessence of this state, the so-called Buddha the enlightened state, concerns so-called emptiness or essencelessness, the fact that mind's true nature is empty of a real reality. So that's the first of the four perspectives of this state. The second concerns that of the Dharmakaya, which is about so-called primordial knowledge or original knowledge at the level of Buddha the enlightened state, where the knowledge in question knows its own nature, as it were, that of essencelessness or emptiness. And in dependence upon these two perspectives, the remaining two of the four perspectives spring forth, that of the so-called Sambhogakaya perspective, a Sanskrit word again, which is a reference to the various manifestations that appear for the sake of guiding others. And here, this particular perspective, its manifestations are those which appear to those who have already achieved so-called pure vision. That is to say, practitioners who have already developed to varying degrees the kind of knowledge which to one degree or another, depending on their level, knows emptiness or essencelessness. Then there is the second perspective here, which is about the manifestations that appear for the sake of guiding those who are still trapped in worldly existences, those who have not yet attained a higher level of this kind of knowledge. And this perspective, its name in Sanskrit is the Nirmanakaya.
Tendrave ku yete ta tobjik sabente namkhata nyambe semjin thamjeji semjin ge nekam nayang semjirang yindela yödebre la te sharab ke parod sembe dodetsu nangtu ranjin nebe riki sumare ranjin nebe riki ranjin segoyate semji ranjin te dema nine tideke kansaru kusum ke sabe yembate tena pavade kushi ki sabente yembala tembe nare tagana shinge jamden deje 콜로 타면 도대체 낭토 데라 대진시 빈힘부암 대월시 빈힘부 송하리 대신 힘부 대 Tsini dama sona ngotong ba rangyen we sals. Yang ne yang do song yobre. Tene gonder tenju zo ju lama la sok pa ne tenbeb nang yor.
Now, these four perspectives or embodiments, as was also explained in the previous session, are present within the minds of all sentient beings in number as vast as the sky, which means that any sentient being can actualize this state in its four perspectives, as was explained. In that, the four perspectives are present within much in the same way as a seed of grain is the potential which permits a farmer, provided he has the necessary conditions for a good harvest, to actualize that good harvest. Similarly, all sentient beings have the seed of Buddha, the enlightened state, in its four perspectives within, and provided the individual also has the conditions by way of which he's able to cultivate the seed, as it were, he then can make progress and in the end attain Buddha, the enlightened state. And the natural presence within is synonymous with mind's true nature, which, as the name indicates, is about a natural presence of these four perspectives and their qualities. Now, according to the Prajna Paramita scriptures, that is to say, the topic called Higher Knowledge Gone to the Other Shore, the presentation as to this inner nature is that it's present within, in the shape and form, as it were, as a seed. So these scriptures and their presentation of this is about what one could perhaps call a seed perspective. Then there are other Buddhist scriptures which record what the Buddha, the Bhagavan, Buddha Shakyamuni, explained regarding this and other Buddhist topics in another presentation or in other presentations of this inner nature. Buddha Shakyamuni refers to the inner nature as the Tathagata heart, popularly known as the Buddha nature in many translations. Now, the scriptures that give this presentation are the scriptures that record the teachings the Buddha gave during the third turning of the wheel of the Dharma. So those sutras and their commentaries rather refer to the inner nature as the Tathagata heart, which is ascribed two basic qualities, that of its essencelessness and that of its enlightening capacity or illuminating capacity. There are many commentaries to the sutras which set forth this perspective, such as the Uttara Tantra, Shastra, and other commentaries, where the so-called Tathagata nature is explained in further detail.
Kolotamane songbe pena dejinship himbo shunendra deshinimbo shunendra tella lakpar tu sanje ji chö thamje sanje ki yönden sangma yang ko ranche ki sudu de yidu ne yö devare de chur ngö matubare songyore.
Now those scriptures explain that the so-called Tathagata heart, the Buddha within, as it were, is spontaneously present with all the qualities of Buddha, the enlightened state, in a manifest form, not in a seed form, as it were. So here it's about a manifest perspective of Buddha, the enlightened state within. It is not, this inner nature is not spoken of in the context of a seed perspective. So there is a slight difference with respect to these two presentations of the inner nature. And according to the second, it's a matter in terms of the practitioner and what efforts he makes in order to actualize a realization of the inner nature. It's a matter of revealing it rather than cultivate it the way one would a seed. So both presentations were given by Buddha Shakyamuni himself. Tenedi dini pedikaka yina minan conditions.
Teni ni yang song chu ge ton to ze mandawa chre ma to dang ge ten le shira ka ka re yo ma de thanda gung chan.
So as to the fundamental meaning of those presentations, there aren't differences between them. The apparent differences occur because of where the emphasis is made. What perspective of the inner nature is looked at in particular, as it were.
Tate pena sebu pa shu sha yina shershin ge ne kam na nu pe chut ye jeber yuen ten ten zo je hong ge chut nu pa chen kolo thame ne kam na yuen ten ge chut de yo re jeber yuen ten ten zo korang de yo re jeber.
Now, according to the presentation found in the Prajna Paramita scriptures, which concern, these scriptures concern higher knowledge gone to the other shore, which points to an otherworldly type of knowledge, knowledge beyond the world. Here, the inner nature is referred to as a potential, which, when the practitioner makes the right efforts, would develop the qualities of Buddha, the enlightened state, whereas in the second presentation, associated with the sutras and their commentaries as to the third turning of the wheel of the Dharma, the presentation or the presentations there describe the inner nature as, to begin with, manifest, or rather that Buddha, the enlightened state, is manifest within, replete with all the qualities of that state from the very beginning, and that therefore the inner nature isn't to be seen as a potential that by way of certain efforts using methods on the path develops the qualities of Buddha, the enlightened state. These qualities are there from the very beginning, are primordial according to the second presentation.
대간난 신게 라미키 유대체 공파 팀메베
유대기 공파마도 세면동에
라미키 유대 공파 자갈게 저친 나로베 세신세와 송여래 셈응베 내루스 야 대신 님보다 다야래 꾸이제때 셈응베 내루 코란래 송래.
Then there are the presentations of the inner nature in the context of the Buddhist tantras, and the Buddhist tantras are divided into 4 classes, and according to the 4th of these, the so-called unsurpassable class of the Buddhist tantras, among the various Buddhist masters of the Indian subcontinent, there are many, and among them we find, for example, the Indian Buddhist master Naropa, who defined the inner nature with its 4 perspectives or embodiments, the 4 kayas, as follows. Naropa and other masters, it is in particular Naropa who spoke of the inner nature as the functioning thing we call the mind and its true nature. And the true nature of the functioning thing we call the mind is that of the 4 perspectives listed earlier, the 4 kayas, the 4 embodiments.
제상 된다에 술때 간소 셈 여체들 여대버래 빨나 멜라양 여래 둔돌래 여래 될양이 제총 가양 요 말에.
And that inner nature, the true nature of the mind, is naturally present within all sentient beings, and there are no differences as to this presence, as to mind's true nature, in the context of different kinds of beings. There are no differences between humans and animals, or any other type of sentient being. The inner nature is equally present, and in the same way within all beings.
Rodang ti gen samna tang bina. Nganzo semjin le yewa zan yomar. Jigba jigjang be ganga sembin rajin te.
So fundamentally, in terms of mind's true nature, there is no difference, or there are no differences between different types of beings. All are the same in the context of the so-called inner nature.
Yin yang ta ka zang e pe shu shu re. Rajin tende chi yin yang. Te la jin ji da ma che na ko korang ge yuan den te chu ngun du chur ma to ba se.
The reason for the differences one finds between different kinds of individuals, different types of sentient beings, simply have to do with the fact that it's not all of them who are aware of their inner nature, who have even knowledge of its presence, simply because those individuals do not have the conditions, have not encountered the conditions which would make them aware of their inner nature. They are oblivious to its presence.
Te kazan ngame gi chötan ka be shu ju re. Per na shimba chig la korang ge khombe nang la sabyo ya bu shi wu ji yue de ba yin na yang. Sabyo te sa sa ji ya bu ji me na sabyo yue be pin to gu men do wa. Ta sa ji ya bu ji yue be on do tang na yang. Sabyo ji wer she pa la jin Chu, Lu, Tre, there's a kangan zam go.
Now, in the previous session, Khenpo Rinpoche spoke of or gave an example to illustrate this. It was the example of the farmer who had purchased a large amount of unspoiled seeds in the hope of planting them and harvesting a good harvest. However, the farmer in question, his fields aren't very fertile, and his water supply not adequate. Also, the quality of the manure he wants to use isn't the best, and the weather isn't helpful at all in terms of providing the sun and the rain in the amounts needed to grow a good harvest. Therefore, he isn't much helped by having a large amount of unspoiled seeds. And similarly, this sung song, this into sung ma sung, tanda.
Chuma song.
Okay.
That Hijindu, Bana, that Himbatale, Loto Tepsa, Saji Yang Gogundu, Chuyang Gogundu, Luyang Gogundu, Chödrag, Shere Yang Gogundu.
Shimpade.
Yeah, Himbatal Ganga Gogundu.
Ladu.
But Hijindu, Naranso, come the worship in him, but Ngundu Churiella, Tanganze, Sajitabu, Debat Gogiore. Tene Chödrag Lutabu, Lamesin Labd Gogior. Tichuna Guji, Ngundu Churtubior. So Ngundu Churtubior. Dilla, Tene Genjurchi Riggs and Shessing and Doin on the song, Yepranjur Riggs.
In the same fashion, an individual who, as has been explained, has the inner nature, in that all sentient beings possess that nature. However, merely possessing the inner nature will not make for him actualizing the Tathagata heart or the inner nature, however one wants to phrase it. Just like the farmer needs specific conditions for the unspoiled seeds to ripen and make for a good harvest, in the same way, there are specific conditions the practitioner who wants to actualize the Tathagata heart needs. Primarily, so-called devotion and spiritual guidance or influence. It's by way of devotion and spiritual influence or guidance that the practitioner is able to gradually awaken to the Tathagata heart to a higher and higher degree. So, by way of primarily devotion and spiritual influence, there is a progress made by the practitioner, which makes for the practitioner gradually awakening to the Tathagata heart, realizing its qualities.
대인도 당보 신카야고 라부때 가르쳐 되버렸으나 낭바 산제백에 최dumkin지 옛내 성대 대별로 생긴데 고기요. 대파메나 메핀바래.
So what's popularly known as devotion could perhaps also be translated as trust and confidence in.
근데 남바 산제백에 최지 dumkin지 옛내 성대 대별로 생긴데 거래. 근데 니테 택바지 dum나야 대별로도 고그래. 택바 심부 dumkin지 옛나야 대별로도 고그래. 송하 dumkin기 메시 옛나야 대별로 생긴데 네버도 고겨.
Now, a mindset which embodies devotion or trust and confidence is necessary in order to be able to make progress on the path to enlightenment. And this is the norm in any of the three major divisions of Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, or the so-called secret Mantrayana, which is synonymous with the Buddhist Tantras. And devotion in its various perspectives is similar to the fertile soil a farmer needs in order, or rather so that the seeds he plants can grow and make for an abundant harvest.
다오나 대파 생게데 간데치를 송브레스나 낭세게 예와도 마송나 숨송도 데랑주의 제외란바 인사마레 코랑치 찌게 찌를 도체는 로베 차네 송인사레 당보 동화제 동외 주체네 대파 대배 주체네 이체바라고 지 인사마레 대소 펜션 찌를 찌되데 용고고요 그래.
So Buddhism explains about the kind of devotion it teaches that there are three major aspects of it, three kinds of devotion, as it were. These are not related as cause and effect. It's rather that these three perspectives interact with one another and are present simultaneously. Tene kanga debchikla yopa kogoger va.
Ja, debchila yon gogoger det tene te shukcher rogoger va. Genjurchi rigse yes the rambajin the jegoger va.
And again, of course, at the outset of the path to enlightenment, a beginner practitioner's devotion is subject to development. And as the devotion develops to a greater and greater degree, more and more progress can be made.
대인데 단대 땡주소는 가브레 이체베 대파 더베 대파 동해 대파 송도 가브레 동해 대파 더베 대파 이체베 대파선 송도 단대 라좀 리가블라 당와 대파 이체 전 송도 대인장의 당보 동화성계의 가림바의 휴기.
So the three perspectives and their order, the order in which they are explained. Sometimes there is the order which this meditation text sets the three or explains the three. Sometimes the order is reversed. However, Khenpo Rinpoche will, of course, right now set forth these three aspects of devotion in the order they are set forth in the meditation text that is explained.
대인데 당과 세드 가르 송버스나 perna ta rani ke semji rajin tela dejin shepe kuji ke tangni yimbata
rani sem giranshin kushi yimbate konde
kuji yimbatela tene samna tangne tene ped de la tangwe semble ya da chik
Tangwei sultu shepa som det.
Ja, 당매 수치에 거그러와. 대군도 줄차르베 라마텔라 양된 동화대 용거러와. 대변나 intellectual 기셰바 좀 마인바 양네 양도 썸나타나다 타쉐뱅이 시지 둘을 총그래. 된 둘을 총바이나 진 관계 양 대바드 메도바 용거요.
So, the first of the three perspectives of devotion, as it were, is the so-called clear or lucid type of devotion. Now, if we were to stay with the name clear devotion, the English word clear here indicates knowledge free from or divorced of obscurity, ambiguity, and the like. So it's a clear knowledge of what is at hand. And here, as we have seen, that primarily concerns the inner nature in its four perspectives, the four embodiments that have been explained in brief. Mind's true nature. So the practitioner takes to heart the explanations and instructions given in terms of mind's true nature in its four perspectives, the four kayas, till there is a clear knowledge of what has been explained regarding the inner nature. Now, this is to be contemplated as a continuing practice. It's not as if the practitioner sits down just once and thinks through what he has heard about the inner nature. It's about giving careful thought to the explanations and also acquiring further explanations till one has a clear understanding of mind's true nature. To begin with, of course, on an intellectual level. However, as the practitioner internalizes his gradually clearer and clearer knowledge of mind's true nature, he will be able to go further than just an intellectual understanding of mind's true nature, in that he has internalized the information to the extent where his knowledge is not just intellectual of the topic, in this case mind's true nature. And at that level, his knowledge of mind's true nature becomes definitive. There is trust and confidence in its presence to the extent where nothing can sway the practitioner in his conviction or knowledge of mind's true nature, as it has been explained. And this is what is called or what one would refer to in English as clear devotion.
Oh yeah, tene tan debe tepa sedu ti yuntin chisam je thongna tesam je yuntin tendawa rang simin de la yeba yang hakko tingun de churtabla ten deba cherchin ten tedar to sembe lamatela yang tene so hat tupcher rokse.
I forgot to mention with respect to clear devotion, once there is clear devotion, synonymous with the kind of clear knowledge that was just described in brief, then devotion for the Guru who has actualized the inner nature, who has realized the inner nature, would arise in consequence of that clear understanding or knowledge, which is a type of devotion. In the shape and form, one could perhaps say, as trust and confidence in its presence, and therefore trust and confidence in the individual who has actualized the inner nature. Then there is the second perspective of devotion or trust and confidence here, explained in brief as follows. Now, the more the practitioner develops this kind of trust and confidence based in knowledge of the inner nature and its many, many qualities, the greater that knowledge is, the more it expands, as it were, the more inspired the practitioner becomes in terms of his efforts to actualize his inner nature. So the second aspect of devotion or trust and confidence concerns the desire to actualize the goal, a realization of mind's true nature.
Ta thangwe tepa tang yiche kansa ndepe tepa te danglindu te yiche tiang cheru cherun rogyo te konso sum te jipin jiro che ne tene yakongper tun rogo yo.
And the third aspect concerns trust and confidence in the fact of this natural presence, as well as in the Guru who has actualized the inner nature. So the three aspects occur together, as it were, and a given aspect of the three would have an effect on the other two in terms of the other two developing to a higher degree and vice versa. So the three aspects interacting makes for further development.
Teyinde tepa shama sinkende shama sedu ta tepa rang tepa lo sechik tu yobachi yina tene wone thane nangpa sanje bege lamla dogona detubachi yungre.
Now the practitioner who has given rise to true devotion or true trust and confidence, and true devotion or true trust and confidence is defined as a one-pointed mindset. meaning a mindset divorced of ambiguity, obscurity, doubts, hesitations, and so on. And it's synonymous with a firm foundation which permits the practitioner to practice the Buddhist path and make progress. Kagyu masters of old have described this kind of devotion, the firm foundation perspective of it, by using the following example. Think of a container that's filled to the brim with water. One can't, one could, but if one were to continue to pour water into that container, the water would just spill over because the container is full. Similarly, the firm foundation perspective of true devotion is about the practitioner's mind, figuratively speaking, being filled to the brim with devotion. That's the kind of mindset a practitioner needs in order to be able to make progress on the Buddhist path.
Chorwan Rabuchil Tene, Natepa, you chebe, Pingamade. Yang Jin that you left on the year.
True devotion is a course which is truly conducive in terms of making progress on the path. And the kind of devotion that was explained, one, to begin with, acquires knowledge of by way of studying the Buddhist scriptures, where one finds explanations and information about it. In particular, the sutras or lectures given by Buddha Shakyamuni himself, where the so-called definitive meaning as to the Buddha's doctrine is set forth. Now, one should keep in mind that studies here doesn't mean to just read those scriptures and to some extent thus acquire an intellectual knowledge of this topic or any other topic. One does that to begin with, but as was pointed out earlier, one needs to internalize that intellectual knowledge so that one's knowledge becomes more profound than just intellectual knowledge. That's the point made in terms of studies, because if one internalizes the information to that extent, one will know for certain that if one makes the efforts needed, one can attain Buddha, the enlightened state. One knows very clearly, without a shadow of a doubt, that one can actualize Buddha, the enlightened state. There is a definitive knowledge or conviction of this in consequence of the more profound knowledge that one has acquired by way of internalizing what one has studied. So devotion or trust and confidence is in the context of the Buddhist explanations about this kind of definitive knowledge. It's not about a sensation or feeling, as it were. Devotion in the shape and form of a sensation or a feeling is not a firm foundation. Sensations, feelings, and the like come and go. They can never act as a firm basis for practicing the Buddhist path in terms of the effort someone makes for the sake of or in the hope of actualizing Buddha, the enlightened state.
다 텐데게 대반 남섬때 약고지가라는 여바테 신카페 약고치 사차테 약고시 우지 여백당 찍바차브레.
Now, having developed this kind of devotion or trust and confidence, the firm foundation perspective of it, in its three aspects, is comparable to the fertile soil the farmer needs, the fertile soil in which he will plant his unspoiled seeds in order to, or in the hope of, harvesting an abundant harvest.
다 디게라 로또 제와라 젠 추당 류다버테 라메신라 스게데.
Then there is the manure, the water supply, and the rest, which these conditions are in the context of practicing the Buddhist path, comparable to the spiritual influence or guidance or blessings of the Guru, the spiritual guide.
대체도 다 신랍 윤킨 라마테 칸데치레스나 벤나 꾸이제에 사변테 응원도 제차로지.
So one may then wonder, what kind of guru is that about? And the answer to that question is, it's the kind of guru who has actualized the four kayas. The four kayas are no longer a seed within, the four kayas have been realized, so that the guru in question embodies the four kayas. And it's this kind of guru who has the capacity to spiritually influence and guide practitioners.
Tiyindu penna tokja chetamche ranjin jitong bashunayantra trepa kundar kitongnik tetang tokshi yeshe chokuni te sharab gchatre.
Nyamsu lempa på de won't du känna.
Mara lama te ngone shana.
Och kong de totsare som
Ja kong totsare wa kan to yorsana.
Alltså.
Tokja ngoni kutang tokje yeshe chokungan de chetsar.
So what is it then that this guru has actualized, and by way of which, or by means of which, he is able to spiritually influence others, guide them so that they make progress on the path to enlightenment? Well, the goal is to realize the fact that all phenomena are empty of a real reality. Emptiness beyond mental fabrication, so emptiness beyond worldly states, the intellect and the like. That's the goal, as it were. And what or who realizes that emptiness beyond mental fabrications? Well, so-called higher knowledge at its highest level, as it were, higher knowledge gone to the other shore, so-called primordial or original knowledge, synonymous with the Dharmakaya and the previous emptiness beyond mental fabrication or fabrications, synonymous with the Svabhavikakaya. So it's the Dharmakaya's primordial knowledge, or higher knowledge gone to the other shore, however one wants to phrase it, which realizes that nature, emptiness beyond mental fabrications.
Ta te che onde te tokpala tenne ti shawa ti karishar waresana durjala ninje thagbe durjeg ngola longcho zokutang mat thagla mathag durjeg ngola tulbekko sanged shargi yobre.
So there is this realization, and then one has to, in the context of these two perspectives, then one has to give thought to what that makes for. And this primordial knowledge, or higher knowledge gone to the other shore, which knows emptiness beyond mental fabrications, takes the action of issuing forth, as it were, the Sambhogakaya manifestations for the sake of spiritually influencing or guiding those who have already attained so-called pure vision, that is, higher levels of development as to the path to enlightenment. It's the compassion of that wisdom which knows emptiness beyond mental fabrications, which takes this course of action, in that the focus of the compassion of the enlightened mind is that of benefiting all sentient beings equally. Therefore, various manifestations issue forth. The manifestations for those who have achieved so-called pure perception or pure vision, and manifestations for those who have not yet come that far. And that's the Nirmanakaya perspective. And its manifestations for the sake of spiritually influencing and guiding those who have a mindset which is a mix of pure and impure.
Tiinde panangaranso yawakama bejenju sol chatsunbayina ninje topje dagbe dojala sharbatella pagwachinreze wanchu segiyot.
Ore itangan so jige madawan.
Ta ngaranso drabo daglam madak bedurje ngola ngaranso don tenbe kuyin tongwa ton shawate ta yang Chödrag bayinanda Chödrag bayinanda denzote.
So if we take the example of the Gyalva Karmapa, an individual who has actualized the inner nature. Now, because of his compassion for all beings, he manifests in various forms. The Sambhogakaya perspective and manifestations in that regard, for the sake of spiritually influencing and guiding those of pure perception or pure vision, so that further progress is made. And then the Nirmanakaya perspective, which is about the manifestations for individuals like ourselves, trapped in worldly states, where the mindset is a mix of purity and impurity. Now, if one were to give an example of one of the many manifestations of the Sambhogakaya perspective, Chenresi would be such an example. The practitioners who have achieved pure perception are able to meet with that Sambhogakaya perspective. Their mindsets is about a mindset of purity to a very high degree. And that's the reason for them being able to encounter that kind of manifestation. Whereas in terms of us, regular worldly individuals who have not yet actualized so-called pure perception or pure vision, however one wants to phrase it, we are not able to meet with those manifestations of the more pure level. Therefore, the Gyalva Karmapa, whether we're looking at the previous Gyalva Karmapa, the 16th Karmapa, or the present Karmapa, the 17th Karmapa, or any other of the Karmapas in that line of reincarnated masters, there is the Nirmanakaya perspective, where the Gyalva Karmapa manifests as a human being like us, in order to benefit us and all others who are trapped in various worldly existences.
Perna, tak pesen shubina. Perla, turku se system te, tangbo Karmapa ne zong de shong de wche. Di na la turku tongcha mongpa shong yu jire tongcha. Karmapa kunchin jubdun pa de pe wche. Kunchin tenzu namta rere shendun je ta. Wane chi le chik ngonsar chewa chi mato yo ma re. Ngaran ngepan rong to wachi yongre nambazo.
Lasso?
Penna tenzu ki namtar shodam ji jaba yina. Dala dongwa senkente ta. Nila hemba senkente me dewachi. Semchi na penna jeta rembe tu kwana yue denge jebu jangjang pe deyo.
Khenpo Rinpoche gives the example of this specific line of reincarnated masters, the line of the successive Karmapas. Now, in Tibet, there is this phenomenon of a line of reincarnating masters, which originated with the Karmapa. The Karmapa was the first ever to reincarnate in this manner. It had not occurred previously in Tibetan Buddhism or in any other branch of Buddhism in another Buddhist country. Now, throughout Tibet's Buddhist history, many lines of masters reincarnating in this way happened. And so throughout the centuries, if one adds up, there would be thousands of such reincarnations who have lived and worked primarily in Old Tibet. Now, today, in terms of the line of the Karmapas, there is the 17th Karmapa. So, till today, we find 17 reincarnations in this specific line of reincarnated masters. Now, Khenpo Rinpoche explains, if one reads the scriptures which set forth the biographies or life examples of them, one ends up with thinking that one is more fantastic than the other. And how come this is the case? Well, Khenpo Rinpoche explains, if one reads these biographies, one will find that each and every Karmapa has had one focus, nothing more, nothing less. And that is the focus of benefiting others, achieving the good of all, their well-being. there isn't a single occasion in terms of any of those biographies which records anything but that there is this just one purpose, that of benefiting all. There are no accounts of a Karmapa having acted on the basis of aversion towards one or many individuals. And there is no account of any of the Karmapas having acted on the basis of attachment for one or a specific group of individuals, thus excluding others. There is this pervasive circumstance, as it were, of each and every Karmapa at all times and in all places having acted only for the sake of the welfare of others.
Perna, Narana Chachana, Najan Ribidoji Kundun La, Loni should say Devering and Jane Ombre, Loni Shu. Tanda Jan Tayadoji Kundun La, Loni should say Devere. Con numbers of those in J. Dead, you should something low rosary. Loni start rosary. Tea ringale, Lamatin Suninge, Tula, one, Semjin Jilla Pinch Tona Jita, Sambachire Mato, Dalet Donata, Nila Shambe Simpsing, yet Zawan and Jema son penna. Jimjucheta, the Tende, Jitan Jikin, young Kalakaura, Ranging Gil Susamata.
Khenpo Rinpoche takes himself as an example and refers back to his own experiences in terms of him having spent 20 years of his life with the previous Karmapa, the 16th Karmapa, Rangyung Rikpe Dorje, and 27 years with the present Karmapa, the 17th Karmapa, Tail Dorje, 27 years, right?
26 years.
26, sorry. He has, during this period of 46 years, never even once seen any of the two Karmapas act on the basis of either aggression or attachment with respect to anyone. He has witnessed only the constant mindset of wanting to benefit others no matter what.
Tea too, Penna Shin love Sevicin Yungadoa, Bebetsil. Shin said, Ninja Chembotege, Kashap Simchin Tamjela. Yewa Mepara. Jesus Zongi or Shin.
Shin said,
David Sigdoa. Yeah. Ninja the Jingi or Lap said, I need to get you Sembunde, your to them bit of Sinkete, Dojarang Tepal Rale Grova.
Lab the wave segure.
Yeah.
So, you have the Tibetan word chin lab, usually translated as blessing. Now, if we look into the word meaning as to the Tibetan word Jinlab, it's a word with two segments to it. The first, Jin, simply means to give. And here, that's a reference to the individual of this level who has this capacity to spiritually influence others, it's about his one and only concern is to give compassionately, as it were, equally to all sentient beings, in number as vast as the sky. And then there is the second segment of this Tibetan word, lab, which simply means wave. Now, it's about a wave, it's about a master who has mastered minds through nature and therefore has the capacity to spiritually influence those on the path so that they make progress, for example. Much as a wave of something. Now, a wave of water, for example, would engulf a certain area as it hits land, the shore of the ocean, as it were. And here it's about spiritual influence engulfing practitioners so that their minds are influenced to the extent where progress can be made.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the Tibetan word is about in terms of its word meaning.
제자 신랍들라 베드 가르쳐버렸으나 뒤지 차르준 겨버려.
And in terms of the title of this Guru Yoga, remember the words, the continuing rainfall of Amrita. Amrita is a Sanskrit word which means approximately in English nectar, heavenly or divine nectar. So the continuing rainfall of Amrita is a reference to what was just described. Compassion which gives incessantly and its spiritual influence which engulfs practitioners, for example, so that progress can be made.
다데 뒤지 차준 송도와 뒤지 송보ян데 제단데 다 가르슈 야가 당 뒤지 셰당지라 라이 뒤지 생게데 통샤나 데네 체링보 데이터 버스에 로주지 요르와 딜레 빼야버레 라멘 신랍데 란은 죽토베이나 데네 치와 매번 어둡 다 힘이 거와 똥이 단도서네 제 치생게데 강가 봉송하래 제치 매번 어둡도 더그래 셈치래.
Now the title then uses the word Amrita. Now in terms of the ancient Indian subcontinents and various beliefs in terms of the religions of the Indian subcontinent and still today, there is the belief in that a man of virtue and religion, for example, can obtain Amrita, so-called divine nectar, which, when drunk, has the effect of expanding someone's lifespan so that the lifespan is one of an immensely long period. And it's this divine nectar which in the title then is the image which describes the spiritual influence of the Guru. In the case of a practitioner being affected in this way, in terms of the practice at hand, and otherwise too, what would the result be in terms of someone coming in contact with the spiritual influence as described, the spiritual influence of the Guru? Well, the practitioner would make progress and in the end attain Buddha, the enlightened state, attain a level of realization where, because of the realization, the individual goes beyond birth and death. Thus, if that realized person choose to do so, he could remain in this world, for example, forever. He is no longer subject to the workings of birth and death, as individuals like ourselves are. And so the Guru's spiritual influence is like divine nectar.
Teni char sinkente, pena chabat namkan pabundu. Nga sasho ndela pabgo, ndela pam gusambasam namindoga. Ta durisa sula tepa yena, sinlab din jugre chebre. Tepa mena jugmetuber.
In the title there are the words, the ongoing rainfall. That is to say, the ongoing rainfall or continuous rainfall of Amrita, or divine nectar. Now, rainfall, the drops of a rainfall simply fall through the sky and seep into the ground. The rainfall itself doesn't have any kind of intention in terms of letting the rain fall on a specific area, for example. It falls wherever it falls. In the absence of intentions, plans, and the like. And the spiritual influence of realized masters is like that. It falls spontaneously on all. Whether it has an effect or not depends upon how receptive those individuals touched by the rainfall are. In terms of the Guru himself, there is no intention or plan to benefit a specific group of individuals and the like. The spiritual influence, as it were, due to the great compassion of the Master, is available to all, provided they are receptive to it. And there is also the word in the title, continuous or ongoing.
Tene jun parmishawate tepa chinla shinlapte sang majak pardo shinlam yugrela sang jene chang sanje karmapa dang chinlen nyamba yongyo song chigre.
So it's a matter of an uninterrupted rainfall.
Pena Tepaching Consatella Shinlapte Sang Majek Partun Jugrela Sang Jet Sarvakabla Karmapa Trinle Nyambaji Yungre.
Now, in terms of the kind of practitioner who has achieved the firm foundation perspective of devotion or trust and confidence, that practitioner will uninterruptedly be affected by the spiritual influence of the Guru throughout all the levels of the path to enlightenment, and once enlightenment has been achieved, this enlightened individual will assist the great Guru, in this case the Karmapa, in his efforts, in his actions to benefit others. And the disciple who has now attained enlightenment is at this point able to engage in the kinds of actions that the Guru himself engages in. So his actions to benefit are equally beneficial, as it were, in terms of achieving the good of all.
Lasso, Taladub Tege, Singe, Dashed, Kana Kanzam Shotsasun, Terin someday, Yagi, Tenta Yeman Jeyu.
So this ends the explanations as to the significance or the meaning of the words of the title of this Guru Yoga text.
Jewanden Serap Tamje do some Yarwa Gunje Tenlepa, Karmapa ye, Tado Jezon, Shanshub Jojo Yuan Je Parasho.
That's all.